Look at my cat. There he is. That's Toothless. There's Saber right there. Both of my tuxedo cats. They're really smart and I love them. Hi guys, I'm Nate with Good Mayhem Racing. I have an update for you with the 4Runner, the vehicle that we raced the Baja 1000 in, and the couple of years that I have been taking to rest, to rebuild, and actually build the business Good Mayhem Racing that is funding the efforts of this truck. So I raced the 4Runner in the Baja 1000. We went down to Mexico in November of 2023, and the truck got wrecked. We had some bad luck. Unfortunately, we had to drag the truck home. The truck wasn't running. We had engine issues, transmission issues. The front subframe had been destroyed. The rear axle had been bent. Multiple suspension points had collapsed, and that was just with 400 miles of racing in Baja, give or take. It's been a long road to recovery on the 4Runner. Like, the business needed to stand on its own, or any like side hustle revenue that I could pick up. I could use that to fix the truck. We took a loss in 2023 when we started the business, and then broke even in 2024. And for a single piece of credit card fraud, we would actually be profitable this year. And I'm going to be going with my CPA, learning about all of that. In the meantime, what has been happening to the truck since Baja? This right here is the original axle. It is an 8-inch diff, and even though those are known to be rather fragile Toyota differentials, it certainly survived. Everything else on the axle, though, bent upwards of 2 inches in S curves, both forward and back. It definitely died. So this entire rear axle is getting replaced. I am replacing it with a FJ Cruiser 4th generation 4Runner rear axle that has a similarly sized differential. I don't have a lot of horsepower, so I don't really need an upgraded diff, but having a wider stance that actually matches the front is a great way to make the truck go faster without much extra power. This also allows the suspension to cycle a little bit better, and also let me convert the 3rd generation 4Runner suspension to a later generation Toyota's setup. If you look really closely, you can see brake discs now. I'm no longer on drums in the rear like on the old axle. This is now a rear disc brake conversion thanks to the later Toyota setup. This axle setup is about 6 or 7 inches wider than my original one, which means my original coilover conversion that went down the middle of the truck does not work anymore with it. I need to have all of that area reinforced and the coilovers out rigged on the truck. So the coilovers are now in a new spot and give me access to do a couple more things. You can see the coilover right here. It's sticking through the fender well. It's going to be a dual rate coilover setup, the same kind that I had in my truck, but since it is now outboard, the shocks should be able to do a better job of controlling the truck and damping it, in addition to preserving the rear axle and maybe stop it from bending as much, especially with the load distributed to the outside. The rear axle wasn't the only thing that bent catastrophically. The left rear frame also bent as well. So I have replaced the bump stops, got a couple of eBay specials on the King side of things so I can have something to map this out against. And now I am going to have new bump stops. These are probably going to be pushed to the rear a little bit. And on top of that, have a super cool, like, position-based bump stop plate on the axle. Since the coilovers are now outboard and set lower than the original setup, this now gives me enough room to do 2 spares, and that's a relatively easy upgrade compared to everything else that's happening on the truck. So yes, 2 spares, one right here, one in front of it. To fix the frame flex that we had last time and reinforce it, I'm going to be doing like a double crossbar assembly here in the back that can mount the coilovers and reinforce the points for the bump stops. But I ran out of steel, so you actually don't see that here. You just see a whole bunch of scrap steel pinning the crossbar in place where the coilovers are mounted. The cabin has stayed relatively unchanged and even still has the Baja dust and dirt and grime still all inside of it. You can see our plans from 2023 and how all of this stuff is still very Baja-esque. Fortunately, this truck is very, very stable metallurgically. I had no rust issues come out of Baja, and I'm very grateful for that. My biggest brainchild so far in the truck has been replaceable cam tabs. So you can see these 3 bolts up here. They actually mount chromoly plates that are holding the whole lower suspension to the front of the truck. This was the subframe replacement that I did in 2024. Unfortunately, I did not get to paint that, so that is the only rusty part of the truck, and that wasn't even involved in the race. We blew some electronics mid-race. These corner lights and turn signals all popped out, so I've actually designed my own product to meet that need and also get this turn signal separated from this corner light. This is actually a product offering called Das Underlights. You can check it out on my website, or Feel Good Performance are selling them too. Underneath all of this plastic are a whole bunch of brand new parts for the front, where I can replace the spindle, the knuckles, and all of the bearings in the front, and also use my old ones that are currently on the truck as spares. The engine is nuked. We actually lost the air intake and sucked in raw sand into the engine, so the entire engine is coated in silt. Unfortunately, I'm pretty certain I'm going to have to replace that. If anybody has an extra engine laying around that they're willing to donate to the racing team, that would be amazing. The silhouette of the truck is really being rounded off nicely with the whole rear axle improvement. And once everything on the truck is good and go and running, I would like to take it up to Dallas to go to maybe like an off-road event or two. And heck, after that, work with TMR Customs like product line and actually make long arm suspension for the rear. The reason why I want to do long arm suspension is because even though I have extended travel arms on this truck, we collapsed one of the stock suspension points that mounts to the frame, and we can actually improve the balance of the truck and its drivability in whoops and off-road stuff by extending the rear arms by a couple of feet. So that's a solid 2026 project. So practically speaking, I have a lot of things to do with this truck. Everything I've covered so far, in addition to making a new firewall for the rear, re-gearing the differentials, both the front and the back, set up the whole rear locker conversion that the new axle provides, replace the engine, do the suspension cycling, figuring out the bump stops, figuring out all of the components that broke in Baja and making them at least runnable, if not better. And you guys have been watching my channel for some time. I really appreciate that. We're over 500 subscribers now. And if this is your first time to the channel, welcome. If you'd like to see more of what we're doing, check out goodmayhemracing.com. And from there, there's a lot of stuff that I've been able to do in the meantime with growing the business, from a 3D printing side, from a fabrication side, with all of the sponsors and the vendors that we work with, that we are dealers for. I'd be happy to give you guys some details on that, but not with this particular video. I will see you guys out in the desert, not my garage. Like and subscribe for more.